Welcome back. Time for a little Saints talk. Quarterback Derek Carr in New Orleans, ready to lead the black and gold, and here in the studio to tell us about what this could mean for the upcoming season, WLOX sports anchor Blake Brannon. Huge story. Jameis Winston, Andy Dalton, Drew Brees retired. Nobody knew what was going to happen.
Right.
Free agencies out there,
Yes.
and they bring in Derek Carr.
Yeah, arguably, and I would even go to say not really arguably, he was probably the best quarterback in the free agent class that the Saints could have brought in, and just throughout the entire NFL, he's probably the best free agent quarterback in the league. But that's a huge get for the Saints because really since Drew Brees retired, there's been no consistency at the quarterback position. You thought Jameis Winston was going to be the guy, but dealt with injuries, dealt with interceptions. Then you bring in Andy Dalton last year, and that was what it was. He's now no longer with the team.
Derek Carr statistically is one of those guys where you look at his stats and you go, wow. But when you look at a guy who didn't notch a lot of wins,
right?
To me, that's the knock against him. The Raiders didn't finish a lot of games.
That is correct.
And I don't like to see that with a quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, we always want to gravitate towards wins and losses, and a lot of that is put on the quarterback, but not all of it should be, I believe. Sometimes he didn't have the right weapons around him. He had Devontae Adams last year and wasn't really able to click with him. But I think since he's left the Raiders, and I think he's going to be a great fit in New Orleans, I think this is going to give him a new perspective on just how to play the quarterback position. And he's already familiar with Dennis Allen, too. So that is going to do
Allen coached him when they were in Oakland.
Yes,
I believe.
The Oakland Raiders.
Before they went back over to Las Vegas. What about that contract, though? Let me see. I mean, I might get dizzy reading these numbers.
I know.
4 years, 150, could be up to 150 million. Huge signing bonus, plenty of guaranteed money. But we're seeing that in the NFL this season, these crazy quarterback contracts.
I know, and with the Saints especially, who are perennially over the cap. I don't know how they do it every year, but every year they somehow find a way to, they pay their players. I mean, they really do, and they somehow find a way to continually do that over the course of time. But I think that really shows a good commitment to Carr, that they want him there and they want him to be the guy.
Okay, well, you have Chris Olave, the first-round draft pick last year, who I would give an 8 on a scale to 1 to 10 last year, and I think he could be a 9 this year. But then you got Michael Thomas, this guy who was a star.
Yes.
And then for the last season and a half, he's had toe injuries and groin injuries. He seems like he's been a bit of a head case. But he, I think on Twitter, was very positive about Derek Carr.
He was, absolutely. And that's what you really want to see. You really want to see your receivers happy about the quarterback that you got in, because that's the biggest chemistry that you have to build as a quarterback. But, injuries and everything aside, Michael Thomas is still a good player. He's just got to stay healthy and stay consistently healthy, because we saw flashes of it in early season before he really started with dealing injuries last year. He's just got to stay healthy, and I think we'll see the same on Michael Thomas.
Alvin Kamara, they got a little legal issue still hanging out there. To me, it doesn't seem like the last maybe 2 seasons he's run with the same urgency and passion, but he's one of the top running backs in the league. Forget his legal stuff. How about just getting him back to being a hard runner?
Yeah, I think that they've put too much on him last year and want him to be like the traditional Mark Ingram style of running back, and that's not really what he is. He's more of, he's a pass-catching running back, and he's shifty and he's fast. And with the signing of Jamal Williams just 2 days ago, or a couple of days ago, earlier this week, I think that's really going to help ease the load on that. And you can have a quick 1-2 punch with them, and I think we'll start to see Kamara out in space.
Well, with all of this, and if you look at the NFC South, Atlanta, Carolina, Tampa, and the Saints, I think the Saints might be the favorites going into the season in the division.
I think so, too. It's the first time since the 70s that all 4 teams in one division will have a different starting quarterback from one season to the next. But I think with the Derek Carr signing and kind of how things are playing out in the NFC South, I think the Saints should be an early front runner.
Yeah, well, the first thing you do is you say, I want to win the division.
Yes.
And then everything else in the playoffs.
Yes, right.
Defense, though. They're getting a little old up front. Good linebackers, good defensive backs.
Yes, yeah. They they re-signed Cam Jordan, well, I should say restructured Cam Jordan's contract to free up a little bit of cap space. Let Marcus Davenport go, let Shai Tuttle go, and let David Onyemata go. But they've kind of filled some of those holes with free agency signings. But I think going towards the draft, I think that's really probably the spot that they're going to hit the heaviest, either defensive line or offensive line.
So you think on the upcoming April 27th draft, and we're out of time, so we really can't look at some names, you think the Saints are going to go defend? They don't have a tight end, do they?
Juwan Johnson is still there, but other than that, it's kind of a weak spot on the offensive side. But
I'd say maybe look at a tight end and fill some defensive spots.
Yeah, offensive line, defensive line, I think they'll be
well, it should be exciting with Derek Carr with the New Orleans Saints. Blake, always good to see you. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
And thanks for watching. I'll see you back here next Sunday morning.